all the pain turned to gratitude. I literally had a conversation, and it was almost like me and God were talking, but it was like my voice, and it was like, what if God came to you and said, this is going to be your child, tells me everything about Kamaria, and says, but you're going to lose her when she turns 18, and you will be in pain and experience that for the rest of your life. Would you still want to be her mother? And I said, absolutely.
Oh, little fish, big pond, big splash, big bag. Little fish, big pond, big splash, big bag.
What's going on, world? Welcome back to the Next Level Speakers podcast, the #1 podcast in the world.
For people who want to be speakers.
Come on. Don't tell no lies.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, listen, man. Very excited to be back with another episode, man. And we have a very special guest in the building.
Let me be the one.
Please.
Let me be the one. So I'm excited, y'all. I'm trying to wipe this little goofy grin off my face. K. Marie, powerful speaker, woman of God, mother, entrepreneur, hustler, friend. Man, K. Marie, how you feeling, sis?
I'm feeling amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Good. Glad you're with us. Now, you joined the Speakers Academy.
It's been almost a year.
Yeah, then the Speakers Elite. So you've been at just about every mastermind we have, absorbing the information, getting the knowledge. And I'll never forget the first time you were on stage and you shared your story and you had everybody just a wreck in tears, man. Do you mind? I know you want to definitely, you know what I'm saying, pay homage, respect. Can you just kind of share, because we're going to get into your story, right? But just I know you have a signature message when you travel and when you speak, when you give them that highlight of what you had to endure, the pain, and where you are now speaking.
Yes. So some years back, I got a phone call with a simultaneous knock on the door, and was informed that my daughter was in a car accident. And I kind of just wanted to hush, like, you can't speak. But the gentleman continued and told me that my daughter had lost her life in a car accident. And it completely changed my life because I was the mother who believed my kids were off limits. I just felt like I do everything God asked. And that's what I said when I found out. I do everything you ask, God. And I said, not my child. But then I immediately said, I don't want it to be anyone else's child. I just don't want it to be mine. And it completely impacted and changed my life. But I know that nothing ever happens without a reason and a purpose. And I'm on a mission now. I'm on a mission.
You see that smile she hit us?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, when people say that, everything happens for a reason, I think that's easier said than done. And one of the things we teach in the academy, as you know, is that when you work through that pain, and obviously the hurt and the loss will never go away, but as you work through how to deal with it now and you train other people on that, talk to us about like what that did for your motivation to say, you know what, I'm getting up and this is what I'm going to do for other people who experience the same thing or, have loss and trials and tragedy. How did that inform your messaging as you go forward as a speaker?
Well, for me, I would say there was just a point where all the pain turned to gratitude. I literally had a conversation, and it was almost like me and God were talking, but it was like my voice, and it was like, what if God came to you and said, this is going to be your child, tells me everything about Kamaria, and says, but you're going to lose her when she turns 18, and you will be in pain and experience that for the rest of your life. Would you still want to be her mother? And I said, absolutely. Absolutely.
What a perspective.
Wow.
And it changed my entire life. My word for over a year now has been gratitude. I'm just so grateful that he chose me to be her mother and that I got 18 years, because some people don't get that. So instead of, why and being angry, I just found gratitude, and that's really impacts my message.
Wow.
So I have a question for you. You get the call, the knock at the door, the phone call, you find out, you go through the process, the planning the funeral, the grieving, grief counseling?
Oh, yes.
Therapy?
Oh, yes.
Can you talk about the healing process? Because, see, I tell people all the time that the most effective speakers are those who go through the most healing. Because it's one thing to say, oh, my God, I was in the fire and I experienced these burns, but I made it out the fire. It's like, okay, but you still got 30-degree burns. Your skin is still peeling. You're still in pain.
Yep.
It's different when you say, oh my God, I was in this house fire, I got burned, but I got treatment. They washed it, they put the aloe, they put the cream, they gave me some antibiotics, they put the wounds on top of me, and I'm healed. And now I can tell you that even though you're in the fire, you can get out and get healed. Can you just talk about the process beyond as a speaker, just as a woman, as a mother, as a human, to go through something so painful because your daughter was so bright, so smart, winning awards, all of that. Like the ideal, like perfect daughter, best friend, probably
Best friend.
Yeah, like I want them to understand the gravity of that. To get this news, talk about the healing that you had to go through to be the woman you are, and then how that translated into the speaker you are.
Absolutely. So it started immediately. I knew I was going to go to therapy. So my work provided free counseling. So I called up a grief counselor and was literally breaking down, trying to explain why I needed to come in. And I did the little 5 sessions, but then I prayed and I said, God, I need you to direct me to the therapist that's going to give me everything that I need to survive this. Because I always said I wouldn't. I spoke that, and you shouldn't speak those things. But I was one of those people that said I would have a mental breakdown. And I remember the first time that I walked in my therapist's office, when I tell you I knew, I just knew that she was the one. And we would meet bi-weekly, every 2 weeks, and we would talk. And just because what you don't know is you go through so many things. And I would start to hear about other parents losing their children, and I would take their grief on. And it was just a battle. And I had to learn these skills. I had to learn to take time for myself. I would do these walks, which is kind of how I discovered Inky Johnson. He did a story.
Shout out to Ink.
Shout out to Ink. He did a story, What Happens When God Says No. And it's literally all of that between the therapy, listening to speakers, and just pouring into myself and taking the time and going through the process. You can't just say, oh, because at one point I did. Oh, I got it. I've accepted it. It is what it is. And I remember months down the line, I called my sister and I said, I did not accept this. This hasn't. So she was like, you got to still keep putting the work in, and you have to understand there's going to be moments. Christmas, I avoided stores altogether because that was something me and my daughter did. We shopped together, we wrapped the presents together, and I had to go out to get something to cook. And I literally broke down in the store, and I said, God, please get me out of this store. And around that time, a girl that had worked for me just come around the corner, and she's seen it. She just embraced me, and I knew, okay, we need more healing, we need more work. So it took time, but the therapy, you can't just go to therapy. You got to put the work in. And it definitely changes you. And so whenever I speak to people, it's not like, hey, I'm just going to come give you this message. We talk about the work and the steps that you have to do to get to that point. Because you can rah, motivate, but it's like, okay, well, how do I do that?
Right. And that's what I want you to touch on, because some people see you on stage speaking and you flowing and you doing your thing and you share a powerful story, but they don't always see the work you had to do behind the scenes to get the healing, to get the strength, to get the clarity, the perspective, the fact that you wasn't bitter towards God. I felt it in my spirit because I know how disciplined I am. And sometimes I'd be looking at God like, bro, I feel like you kind of trying to play me, but it's just the process He's taking me through. So I felt this so deeply when you said, I do everything right. I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. And you're going to take away my daughter, who's so phenomenal on so many different levels. How was it that you weren't bitter? Because that's not normal.
I will tell you, I don't know why, but I started writing poetry, and I never wrote poetry. Like, my daughter was very artistic. But I started writing these poems, and I wrote a poem, and it was a conversation between God and the devil. And the devil was speaking to God about how he was going to come and attack me. And I mean, it started with, me ended up being a single mother, having Kamaria, and had to choose between school and career. It went to, oh, you blessed her with a husband and 2 more children. I'm going to destroy that. But my husband became my friend. Then, I took her mother away from her. She lost her mom when she was 14. Like, it's just a whole conversation. And then he takes my daughter, and I dropped to my knees crying out to God. And it angered the devil. And God said, I told you could test her, but I never told you I would leave her. And it was those conversations that I would just have and imagine God speaking over me. And that is how I was like, you're not going to break me. Like, I know whose child I am. You can't destroy it. Like, this was the one thing I said I couldn't survive. Now I'm going to go survive it.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Jeremy Anderson here, founder of Next Level Speakers Academy. And look, we're always looking to see how we can take to the next level. Me and my team have been meeting, and we said, man, how can we enhance the experience, right? How can we put the people within our community in the best position to get as many opportunities to speak and share their gift and their message with the world? I am pleased to announce that we have just launched our Next Level Brand Studio. For those of you all that's in the Facebook group and online and send me DMs, Jeremy, who did your website? Who does your branding? Who did your EPK? Who does your reel? We now build a team of people that's been working with us for years that's now going to work with you. So for those of you all that want a brand, right? You want a real custom logo and an EPK and business cards. You really want to put yourself in the best position to really be taken seriously. We've got the opportunity for you, right? For those of you that said, man, I need a website that's nice like yours, Jeremy. I don't have as much content, but I got enough to get a really strong website to put me in the best position. Man, we've done so many websites. We've got the team, the crew ready to support you. For those of y'all that realize people don't want to book speakers who are trying to be speakers, they want to book speakers who are already speaking, and you understand the importance of having a real polished and powerful professional speakers reel. Man, we got the team that's been working with me for over a decade, and now my team is your team. So whether you need a brand, a branding and a logo and EPK and all of that, whether you need a brand new website, whether you need a speakers reel, Next Level Brand Studio is the go-to place for premier speakers like you. It's ready to take your message and your brand and your story to the next level.
I mean, it's incredible. So talk about how now that informs your speaking. Now you're out. I know you're doing corporate events now. You're doing schools. You're doing. I believe you have a girls empowerment event coming up. Because that was heavy, and you took all of that on, and God brought you through it. Now talk about how that informs your messaging and who you are and everything you stand for going forward. What are you training people on? What are they coming to you for? What are they booking you to hear?
So sometimes it changes, and I cater the message. Now, I have shared the story of my message about my daughter in a corporate space and made a huge impact. I had a guy come up to me after that I gave the speech and just talking about, timing and things happening on time and when it's for us. And he was ready to quit his job. And he was like, I'm telling you, I was putting my notice in. I was quitting. And he said, after hearing your speech, he said, I'm not going to leave. And he's got the promotion that he wanted. It's just completely changed his life, his financial situation.
Hold on. We got to reverse engineer break this down. Yeah. So you're doing a corporate gig.
Yep.
Yes.
So she gets booked to speak for a corporate gig. And I'm sure you shared the story of your daughter. Mm-hmm. That's the weaved in. And we talked about that a few episodes, see, kind of how, Marie, how, we take our message, we have our one signature message, but we're able to tweak it depending on the audience. So you do that, and it hits him so much to his core where he was like, I was about to quit and leave this company, but he decided to stay. What do you think it was in your speech? Because you didn't know nothing about this. You was just being obedient, sharing your story, sharing your truth, they're teaching, training, motivating. What do you think that he heard during your speech and your presentation that made him say, I'm going to hang in here and finish what I started?
Because I think it was just a message of sharing that, we're going to go through adversity, and there's things that we're going to want or a time that we think things should happen. And it doesn't always happen at that time, so like even when, I'm sharing the story of me wanting to get a promotion and all the work and the things that I had to put in, and I was getting ready to move to get the promotion. And then God stepped in and said, oh, no, you don't have to move because I'm going to promote the person who's in front of you and you're going to take their spot. And just sharing that and then saying, I was on top. I was killing it in the company. And then I lost my daughter, and it's like, how do you do that while managing this entire team? I ran the largest team in our company. I had the largest team, and it's COVID. Everything's shutting down.
Wow.
And my market's open. we're not reducing hours, we extending hours. So I'm speaking to these people and motivating them to do these things. And it's just like, okay, if she could do all that, if she could work towards her goals and dreams, if she could wait on the right time, maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I need to hear what they're telling me. Because sometimes we're getting feedback, but we're not really receiving the message that they're giving us. And we don't like tough feedback. So it's like, well, I'll just quit and go somewhere else. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You know, if you're putting the work in and they're having conversations with you and they're saying it's just not right now, just dig a little, ask some more. You don't have to change your whole career. And I mean, if he had left, who knows what happened? But now he got this promotion, his family, his wife.
And that's the importance I feel, about us saying, I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna share my story. You don't know who was in that audience. You don't know who's in the audience, who needs to hear your message, who needs to hear your story, what they have going on. All we're asking you to do is stand in the gap, speak your truth, right? Speak with a level of transparency. Let them know the hurt, the pain. You weren't standing in front of them saying, I've just always been awesome. You like, nah, I didn't get promotions. And I stuck with it. Then I got it. Then I lost my daughter. Like, and it's like, when I hear your story, I hear a roller coaster.
Oh, yes.
Valleys high, mountain high, and valley lows. Yes. But he was so moved when he says, I want to stay. And that's just a few people who came up to you.
Oh, yes.
You don't even know the others that was moved on the inside and then went home and said, I'm going to be more present for my children. I never forget. I realized, I found out the ministry that E.T. did in corporate because I didn't know this. I saw E speaking in schools and I felt like, that's ministry. I saw him, of course, preaching because he's a pastor. But I always felt like, okay, well, when I do corporate, it's not really ministry. It's just more whatever.
Transactional.
Right. But as I began to go and I have these engagements, I remember I was speaking for this one big company in New York, and I was just speaking my truth. I was just sharing my heart. And I was talking about marriage and some things I kind of fought through, and I was talking about character. And I started having grown men come up to me, some black, some white.
Yeah.
And was just like, I'm going to be a better husband because of your presentation. I'm thinking like, I ain't even really talk. And some people was like, bro, I need to be more present for my kids. They was like, the stuff on sales and hitting the company numbers, all of that for sure. But I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better wife because of your presentation. I was just like, I didn't even know, but it's like God was just like, you speaking it, but they receiving something a little different because of where they are. And I can imagine that's how it was with you in this corporate gig. How does that feel?
I'm not gonna lie, it feels amazing.
It's fire, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it feels really good to know that you're making an impact. And it's like I say that's why it's so important. Like you talk about you sharing your story and these guys coming up to you. I'm not surprised. Like, Jeremy, that's me. You know, when I was at that conference, it changed my entire life. I'm talking about not just with my speaking, because trust me, that has been amazing. People's always telling me, you should be a speaker, you should be a speaker. You need to be trained. You got to get some coaching. You need to know what you're doing. But my relationship, I'm going to get married. Like, the man that's for me is with you, you know? And it's just, in my relationship with God, my finances, like, everything has increased since going to that conference. That's why I'm always trying to go to the mastermind. Right. You know what I'm saying? I want to be in the room. Every single one. Bro. I want to be in the room.
DR, we in Cancun, Jamaica, Atlanta. Yeah.
Come on. Because I want to be in the room. I want to be in the room. And it impacts bringing the spouse, bringing the significant other.
Oh, yeah, we different.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we different.
Like, you cannot...
Look at Nick over there smiling. You know what I'm saying? Nick is just like, yeah.
She's smiling with that.
Yeah.
Because there's been times we'll have conversations, me and my boyfriend, and he'll say, well, I wonder what Jeremy would say, or what would Tracy think? I promise it's happened. And I'm like, well, let's go to Instagram, because I'll tell you what Jeremy is saying.
Yeah. It's on the page.
And just like he heard Dr. Eric Thomas, and he said, I didn't know I was supposed to be ironing your clothes. Why didn't nobody tell me I was supposed to be ironing your clothes?
You're like, steam.
Yeah, he set the bar a little too high for all of it. Slow down on all of that. You know what I'm saying? That's graduate level. Right. Man, just on some masters, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he on something different. Yeah, pump your brakes.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Bro, I got a couple dishes. Come on. I gotta leave.
Ironing clothes?
Yeah. No, it's dangerous listening to E. So, how are you getting booked now? Like, how are people finding out about you? You're traveling. You're doing all these events. I know you got something coming up in Arkansas. You got stuff all over. How are people finding you? How are you getting booked? And like, how's that process working?
So a lot of it's been word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone will hear me speak,
Come on.
and they're like, you just have to. And I've even had people send videos. Like someone really close to me sent a video to a principal and was like, no, you just have to hear her. If you hear her,
Wow.
I'm telling you, literally the prince, because at first the prince was like, oh, I'm busy. Da, da. She called my friend and was like, I need her immediately.
Wow.
So she referred me for a speaking engagement I have coming up. She reached back out and was like, Keisha, can you please come? We got this 8th grade promotion. I need you to speak at that. And then the event in Arkansas, it was someone heard, and they sharing clips, sharing videos. So
Major
it's
key,
literally.
K. Marie, I tell all our students, turn your clients into employees.
Absolutely.
And everybody like, what you mean? They work for you now.
Yes.
They were a client, and now they work for you.
Absolutely.
They like unpaid interns.
Absolutely.
They in your marketing department.
Yes.
Right? I used to do this thing where I tell everybody in the crowd, I'd be like, anybody in here, raise your hand if you work for Apple. And nobody would raise their hand. Everybody like, I don't work for Apple. What is he talking about? And I said, okay, cool. Let me ask it a little different. How many people done told their friends that they iPhone is sweeter than that raggedy Android? Whole room raised their hand up like, oh, team iPhone, team this, team that. I say, look, I don't care. And I know you got to listen, I don't care either way because I'm not getting paid. I'm paying them. Mm-hmm. Think about that, Nick. I'm paying Apple, buying this expensive phone, paying this expensive phone bill, using all of their stuff, paying for Apple Music, paying for everything else. And I'm out here telling people, you need to get this.
And clowning you, making you feel bad if you have a Samsung.
Fam. Or vice versa. You could reverse this. The Samsung people die hard Samsung.
Right,
And they like
for
that
sure.
iPhone is trash. I'm like, yo, you're out here doing an unpaid internship. And I asked people after that, I go, now how many people, knowing what they know now, how many of y'all work for Eric Thomas and Associates? Whole room be like, yep, I done sent that video out. I done told somebody listen to that podcast. I done told, but that's why you have to get to a level where you penetrate people to the point where they not only feel like I'm going to pay you for this service and appreciate you, I'm now going to work for you and go around and spread the good word of what you're doing. And so that speaks to how powerful your messaging is right now.
Amazing. Amazing. So what are you looking forward to in this? I got 2 questions for you. What are you looking forward to in this new season? And secondly, what advice would you give to beginner speakers? But let's start with what are you looking forward to in this new season?
Running the play.
No doubt.
Come on.
So I will be honest with you, you know, being a part of this academy, you get to meet so many amazing people. And Coach Crimp gave us a lesson on know your numbers. And that's probably part of why the financial is doing so much better, credit score going up. But I was giving a lot of my time in service to my career. So much so that, I mean, I'm on calls and I'm at work, you know, I'm running around but I wanted to be in the space. So now, you know, I had to have a conversation and just say, hey, my time is valuable and it's the most valuable thing I have. So I'm going to need some of that back. And now I feel like I have the time to really get out here and make a bigger impact. I just want to contact more people. I want to make sure that people know I'm here. One of the things I just recently did is I started a grief journey on Instagram. Yes, I just put up a video, and that video has almost 3 million views. It's like 2.9.
Wow.
And I felt it on my spirit to share. Jeremy, when I tell you I have personally messaged over, I can't tell you how many hundreds at this point, replying to messages, DMs of people who were just hurting.
Wow.
So it's just, I know that my heart, like I was born with certain gifts. One was a heart to help. That's just my heart. The other was speaking. You know, it's just been in me. You know, I didn't choose speaking. Speaking chose me. And the other is I solve problems. Like that's
right.
just what I do.
That's
like
right.
Speak to this.
Talk that talk.
you know, and I've been paid, you know, by corporate America to solve a lot of their problems, but my heart, my passion is with children. That's where it's at. That's why I want to be in the school space with teachers and students, because if you bring a problem to me, I'm going to solve it. It's just what I do.
Okay, talk about you know, you had to go through all of this, and now you're taking, you got hundreds of people hitting you up, you got millions of people watching the videos, we talked about it before, you become the strong friend, right? Like that's kind of like, that's one of the things that I think we've all noticed about this community, and like usually the people who end up coming here are the people who are like the strong person in their community. How do you balance continuing to do personal development yourself, right? Because that's a lot to take on. You mentioned it earlier, but it's like you have a loss, and then you all day listening to other people talk about their loss. You have to have some really strong, shoulders to be able to put all of that on you and say, not only am I going to take all of that, I'm going to give you back all of this. How are you pouring into yourself these days?
So definitely this space, like this is my mental refresh. Like when I talk about going to those masterminds, it's for my recharge.
Okay.
I have coaches who are pouring into me, listening to people like Eric Thomas and Inky Johnson and Jeremy. Like I have to take that and pour. I had to have my quiet time with God. And I knew going into this what it would be. So I made sure, like, God, is this what you want me to do? And am I prepared to do that?
Okay.
And just share the message of God has never left us and he never will. And sometimes that's just what people need to hear. They just need to know that they're not alone, that someone else understands. So I definitely have slowed down, know my numbers, because my coach told me to.
Come on.
And then I just get the recharge, from this space.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, I don't think I'll ever be able to go away.
Come on.
I
love it.
And I know you asked the question, what would I tell new speakers?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that anyone knows that wants to get into speaking, you can have the gift of speaking, because I believe that is my purpose. That, like, I used to tell people all the time, imagine if Kobe Bryant or Jordan was working in corporate America and didn't play basketball. Like, that's how I would feel if I'm not speaking. That's literally how I would feel.
You just 6'8" walking around the office for no reason.
For no reason.
Filing
You know what I'm
papers.
saying? Just looking like the most athletic little accountant ever known to mankind.
Yes. And,
Crazy.
And it's like, what is the
Tight as all get out of death.
But you have to get training. You have to get a coach.
Come on.
If you feel like your gift is that valuable, then why would you not invest in it? Like, you have to. Because there's so many things that they will tell you.
Yeah.
Just the lesson of your phone. Check your phone. Who's in your phone? Who do you know? I cannot tell you. The person who manages me, she was in my phone.
Come on.
Wow.
She was in my phone, and she has so many contacts. She's in a sorority and all these college space. My girl just wasn't happy with the job she was with. She was like, you know what? I'm going to go get this new job, and I can help you get on speaking.
Wow.
I'm like, what?
In your phone.
In
My
my phone. But I learned that lesson from my coach.
You know what? So what I find interesting is your field, your primary market is in the educational space, but you still getting booked corporate.
Oh, yes.
You feel me? See,
absolutely.
that hits different. It's like, okay, this is my market, but because you were so potent, because you were so powerful, because we believe in a God that's going to do exceedingly and abundantly more than you're not thinking you're going to get corporate gigs if your branding and everything is school and youth and wanting to save young people's lives, but even corporate is reaching out to you. Like, how does that feel to say, I'm really going to rock with this, but then you get all these other opportunities that you wasn't even looking for?
I just feel like it's truly God. Like, everything that I do, I try to seek God first. Like, what do you want me to do? And I just know that the impact can be made with everyone. My heart, my passion is for children. I want to impact their legacy. I want them to truly understand, the born date, the end date, but what's in between. Like,
your faithfulness, I'm going to tell you what it is your faithfulness, your determination is what makes you deserving of the dream. All that extra work, the sacrifice you put in, the fact that you did the self-help, the healing, the grief counseling, the therapy, you got your heart right. And then you said, I'm not going to keep it to myself. I'm not going to harden my heart, and I'm going to share it with others. God is like, I can trust you and bless you with so much more. We talked a few weeks ago. We had DeMont on, DeMont Pope. Shout out to DeMont.
yes.
Perfect over pointless excuse.
DeMont.
But I remember we were talking about near the end of his episode, we were talking about how he got an opportunity to speak for Recession Proof in Vegas. And I'll never forget at our conference. Remember that?
I was in the room. When I tell you I was crying like a baby.
Oh, for sure.
Crying like a
bro,
baby.
it was a moment, dog. And Marcus pulled me aside and was like, bro, I don't know what it is. Like the spirit was thick in that place. And he was like, I don't know what it is, but I need to bless somebody. Because he was already going to be on stage.
Yep.
And he was like, tell me 2 people. And he said this. He said, give me 2 people that's really worthy of it, that made a really big sacrifice, a really big investment. And he was just like somebody like deserving. And I was thinking like, man, DeMont was one of the ones, you know what I'm saying? And so I think, but that came from, he ain't know nothing about that.
Yeah.
DeMont was just doing what he do, but I know DeMont's heart. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if that's the energy I have as a wretch, a sinner, a regular dude that wake up with morning breath in the morning, coffee breath right now, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the energy I have, just imagine a God that's going to give you so many more opportunities. And so for all you speakers out there that's like, this ain't working and that ain't working, just keep your heart pure.
Yes.
When you see other people winning, you see other people getting to it, just keep that energy of K. Marie. Get whatever healing you might need, whatever therapy, whatever counseling. Just speak and lead and serve from a pure place, knowing that there are going to be doors that open for you that you didn't even have to knock on.
Yeah.
That's what she experiencing now.
Yeah.
This doors is open and she didn't even knock on. What you call the little doors, the sliding doors with a sensor?
But the little, yeah. No, I don't know what you call
She
them.
just walking by doors,
Automatic.
doors is just opening up.
Automatic.
The automatic boys. You know, we ain't had them back in the day. Like
No.
the automatic boys, like that's the season that she's in, and that's the season you can be in when you keep your heart pure.
Yeah, some of y'all got them bifolds that be slipping off the track. You got the, you know what I'm saying? Get on K. Marie level where you walk, it just open up, part like the Red Sea. Kay, before you go, man, please let them know your socials, let them know where they can find you, the website, let them know where they can book you. Talk to the people.
So the website is kmariespeaks.com and social media is k.mariespeaks.
And it's spelled just Marie. Come on, K.Marie Speaks on all socials.
Yes.
So y'all go check out Kay, man. Just an incredible story. Thank you for being on here. Amazing having you. Don't let this be the last time. We want updates as you go out and change the world.
Sure.
Just come back, bring us the stories, bring us the updates. And if you want to change the world and you want to go to the next level, you need to join nextlevelspeakers.com, okay? This is our community right here. Y'all are seeing what we're doing. Lives are being changed. You can sign up right now. We got Coach Crump in the building. We have coaches who are qualified to take you to the next level. Myself, Jeremy Anderson, Inky Johnson, Eric Thomas, we've all combined forces, all right, to make sure that we're training up the best speakers in the world. And you can get signed up right now at nextlevelspeakersacademy.com. We out of here. Kay, appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
Let's get it.